The Texas redistricting is about to get wiped off of the news, so I want to cover it because it actually affects, it's very important. It affects, I'm going to show you in this first clip on MSNBC how it affects the presidency. It also affects just the House of Representatives on the makeup of how many Democrats can flip seats and take it over in 2026, which is what everyone expects. At least traditionally, that would happen. And so I think this is Greg Abbott's way of trying to help the Republicans in 2026 to keep a majority for Trump so that we're doing Trump's work with the two houses instead of impeaching him. Welcome to Doug In Exile, this far consequence, far-reaching thing. I know we're talking about Texas redistricting. It's like me talking about doing your income taxes, but it really is important. And I think at the end of this video, we'll all know what the stakes are. Here's Eric Holder and all these goons on MSNBC.
This is not a Texas problem. Yeah, the focus of this issue is Texas, but this is a national problem. And you got to understand, if somehow, some way, Republicans are able to hold on to the House in next year, and in spite of the fact that I think they should lose because of the big budget bill that took healthcare away from millions of people.
Well, okay, so they're trying to campaign on this. But now you can already see what's at stake. He's hoping they want to flip these districts in Texas to hold on to more seats. And Republicans are redistricting it to be fair, to be more fair and reflective of the people. And so Democrats are having this tantrum, right? Half of them left in protest to New York, half left to Illinois, the Chicago area, and they were trying to keep from meeting a quorum so that they could not vote on the redistricting where the Republicans have a majority and would be able to redraw districts just in time for the 2026 election to reflect the amount of Republicans and MAGA that have moved into the state.
They gave tax breaks to billionaires who didn't need it. If they were somehow able to hold on to the House in 2026, that is the House of Representatives that would have to certify who won the presidential election come 2028, 2020.
Okay, so now he's saying that we're going to put in a bunch of radical lunatics in Texas that will not certify the 2028 election. Eric Holder's implying that the Democrats are going to win that election, and then that the Texas, they want to redistrict. This is a conspiracy, guys. I haven't heard this from anyone but Eric Holder. This is a nutty theory. And his claim is that Texas that they can't trust their representatives and they're going to try and overthrow an election.
29. Now, if you want to play with fire, and that's what we're doing here, you put in a bunch of partisan hacks who are not supposed to be in the House, who are there because of gerrymandering and
partisan hacks. Okay, this man is a partisan hack. Is Jasmine Crockett from Texas not a partisan hack? And he's saying they're going to put people in there who don't belong there. No, they do belong there. Now, this is what the Democrats are going to use to undermine an election. Imagine if what's going to happen is if a Republican wins in 2028, they're going to say, you installed people in Texas that shouldn't be there. That's what Eric Holder just said. We're installing people that shouldn't be there that don't represent Texas.
Whole range of other things that Republicans are doing, and then put at risk the possibility that that body would not certify who the next president was. That's why this is a national problem. This is not something only the Texans ought to be concerned about.
Well, it is a national problem, but not for the reasons Eric Holder is saying. Eric Holder, what a hack. So you can ignore some of that anyways. It does have national consequences on radicals like Jasmine Crockett and New York's Momdi. They're being called the leadership of the Democrat Party. They're the future of the Democrat Party. Highly radicalized, complete communists. So I found this exchange with Stephen A. Smith. We're going to get back to more on the Texas redistricting. But here's Stephen A. Smith on how this part of the party doesn't represent people like him. He would not vote for Mamdani or AOC or Crockett.
You know good and well I wouldn't vote for Mamdani. I wouldn't vote for AOC. I don't like the way Jasmine Crockett is talking. I don't think that helps the Democrats.
Well, actually, she talks a whole lot like you, Stephen.
All right, I have a last question.
I don't like
Exit
that.
question. Who are the leaders of your party right now? It's not Hakeem Jeffries and it's not Chuck Schumer. It's all those names I mentioned.
Sean, there is no leader for the Democratic Party. That's why they're in trouble. There is no leader.
The world is healing. Still no leader of the Democrat Party. He's hoping and praying it's not AOC Jasmine Crockett, which I think would be just wonderful. Here's Democrats on the walls are closing in on Trump. And really, the walls are closing in on Democrats, but this is them all getting the same talking points.
The walls feel like they are closing in.
But as the walls close in around the president,
Donald Trump feels the walls closing in.
I think this is a guy who feels like the walls are closing in.
the walls are closing in on him.
Because the walls are closing in.
I'm going to cut the volume down just because you know what all these guys are saying. But this is in 2018 about walls are closing in on Trump regarding Russia. All these people. This is a 1 minute, 27-second clip. I won't
The walls are
torture you
closing
with it.
in on President Trump.
The walls, meanwhile, are closing in on the president of the United
Oh, look at Joy Reid. That's a pretty hairdo, Joy. Let's stick with that. Okay, now on the Texas thing, here's just in. A unanimous U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals panel has upheld the Texas law requiring IDs for mail-in ballot. This will secure Texas. And this is great leadership, man. I don't know how they pulled this off, but any mail-in ballot submitted without proper identification or a partial social security number will be rejected. That's on healing the vote by mail in Texas. This helps straighten things out. By the way, Arizona could sure use something like this. And actually enforced by their imbeciles over there. United States Court of Appeals, Fifth Circuit filed. So let's hope that wins. Here's more on the Texas redistricting over on a C-SPAN group.
I'm a lawyer. A part of my practice is criminal defense work. There is no felony in the Texas Penal Code for what he says. So respectfully, he's making up some shit, okay? He's trying to get sound bites, and he has
Someone's trying to get sound bites by saying the F word, just going after Governor Abbott.
no legal mechanism. And if he did, subpoenas from Texas don't work in New York. So he gonna come get us how?
So these are the Democrats in Texas that went out to New York, and she's saying he can't subpoena them out in New York.
Subpoenas in Texas don't work in Chicago. He's gonna come get us how? So let me be clear. He's putting up smoke and mirrors. And I'm hopeful that the media doesn't follow that. I will also say this.
Well, she's telling them what the media should and shouldn't do. I hope the media doesn't follow that. Meanwhile, this is where they ran to. One of the places they ran to was in Chicago, Illinois. And look at this graphic on this screen. Illinois gerrymandering. The fourth congressional district here was carefully crafted to ensure a Democrat would win. Look at the shape of this district, guys. Does that look organic to you? The hypocrisy of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker to comment on Texas doing the same is insane. Yet another reason Pritzker spends more time messing things up than helping Illinois residents. So what they do is, this is what gerrymandering is. This is what, guys, this is what dictates a ton of the House of Representatives. Why would Texas put someone like Jasmine Crockett in? Well, this is what Illinois looks like. These districts, they go in and they find only Democrat areas to include in the district. And this means a Democrat drew up this district. Look at it. Does that look natural and organic to you? That looks like a district purely designed to hold a seat. Wait, there's more. Let's take a look at this. Here's how Democrats drew my congressional district in Maryland a few years ago so they could maximize their representation in Congress. Spare the fake outrage. They're just pissed about Texas because Republicans have finally started playing the Democrats' games. So, and I'm always for that strategy. You know, I don't like acting like a Democrat, but if this is how Democrats are drawing up districts, look at this spaghetti. They're just carving it all up, only going for Democrat households. And then literally the district will end as soon as it goes into a Republican neighborhood. Well, I guess it's time to do that to protect Texas. It goes, wow, Democrats do stuff like this for ages, then squeal like a stuck pig when the favor is finally returned. And that's why I'm for it on principle. But wait, here's Trump on Jasmine Crockett calling him a piece of S. So he had a little comment on her over on CNBC Squawk Box.
The Democrat Party is self-destructing. I mean, when you have low IQ people like Crockett, I wonder if she's in a relationship to the late, great Davy Crockett, who was a great a great gentleman. I wonder if she's got any relationship to Davy Crockett.
The way Trump communicates is a scream. There will never be a more entertaining president. Might have been Teddy Roosevelt who used to allow a pony to walk through the White House for kids to ride on. But in modern era, there's no one more entertaining. President Trump is I think one of the greatest modern presidential personalities. Look at how decrepit Joe Biden, that awful blowhard that the Democrats put in, and Barack Obama, the cool rat pack. We're Democrat cool. Trump, this is one of a kind, guys. No,
the great old Davy Crockett, but. You have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding. The Democrats are lost. They have Trump derangement syndrome so bad that they can't walk. They can't talk. They don't know where they're going. Schumer is finished. Schumer, look, I watched him the other day. He's lost all of his confidence.
Schumer is finished. He's lost all of his confidence. So this goes back to that first clip of Stephen A. Smith, who's going, he doesn't like the leadership of his party, this Jasmine Crockett AOC direction his party's going in, because the real leadership officially is supposed to be Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer. And Trump says they're out. Jeffries and Schumer they've lost all their energy. Here's Scott Jennings on those of us in media supporting Trump, which is what we do, against Jeff Jarvis, this journalism professor who gets everything wrong.
People were pissed off. People back in those days trusted the media, didn't they? They just couldn't be heard.
He was defending Walter Cronkite, saying the reason why media was so successful around Walter Cronkite was because the audience couldn't be heard. The audience couldn't be heard. This journalist guy thinks that's a good thing. And now he thinks it's bad that you and I can be heard. Small channels like mine, which is why I'm thankful you guys watch. There's members of the Quad Club, my people who watch all 4 videos all day. We are here. We're taking over. This is what media takeover feels like.
Because there was no two way. Now we have the internet.
Look at the Gallup polling. It was here, and now it's here. It's fallen off of a cliff.
Yeah, we do have that Gallup polling about trust in media. And
okay, let me get down here in the corner. This is America's trust in the media. See that yellow line? That's they trusted a great deal or a fair amount. That one is crashing from 97 all the way down to today in 2024. People have the lowest trust in media. This is down at 30%, guys. It was at a high of 50% back in 97. It was about 45 to 50%. It's down to 30%. That makes the media less popular than AIDS and hepatitis. Okay, and then look, here's blue. There's no trust at all. So back in 1990, that number was just 10%. Had no trust at all in media. And now it's up to 35, 40%, 40%. It's hitting, have no trust at all in traditional media, mainstream media.
now, as in recent years, and let's be honest, Scott, a lot of this is driven by the rhetoric on your side of the aisle. I mean, it's not.
You think it's driven by the rhetoric and not the performance?
Absolutely.
Okay, now this is a great comparison. Because she's blaming it's just the rhetoric of his side. Tiny Fox News, Scott Jennings, whom Bill Maher used to call like lonely Scott Jennings over on CNN, the only one. And then, shows like ours and alternative media that it was our fault. And Scott Jennings says it wasn't the product. It wasn't what the Democrat media put out, which was all lies, Russian collusion hoax, all making up stuff about Trump and making up good stuff about Biden being competent. Scott Jennings is correct in blaming the Democrats for their own demise.
Absolutely.
But my point is this. Yes. If you're CBS or any other news outlet, the reason that you have lost trust ought to be obvious to you, and the way to fix it also ought to be obvious to you, and it has nothing to do with Donald Trump and everything to do with the product. Just try to make a better product that appeals to more people, and the way you appeal to more people is by not crapping on half or more than half of the country because of their values and political viewpoints.
I think that is
what you'd end up with in that press room then is, and these are my words, the freak show that Trump wants.
He calls us the freak show. And in the press room, the right being heard in the media is a freak show. This is what I hate. This is a journalist professor, liberal, typical university professor who sees the right half of America as a freak show. Go look at the left half of America if you really want to see you know, the human pincushion and the fat, you know, all of the freaks at the freak show. That's what they call us. Normal right-wing journalism is a freak show.
Trump tries to devalue media. Why should we value his freak show there? Leave it to the freaks.
I think calling them freaks.
I don't think there's any disagreement on that, by the way.
I mean, he called these new media sources the freak show. They're not freaks. They have audiences.
Some of them are.
They have audiences, and there's a reason that they're thriving is because people are starved for information that they think they can trust. They're not freaks. They're filling a need in this country, in my opinion.
Right.
And on that I wanted to end this video on us. This is about us. You're not freaks. There was a need, and we're filling in that alternate need of the truth. Maybe I'm willing to say I'm a right-leaning biased guy. I'm very proud of that, actually. I'm right biased and leaning because I believe it's actually true. And I thank you guys for showing up and watching. You know, I'm here to provide this service to you because this is the most damaging, awful thing I can do to the Democrat Party. And this is my little way of using media, which I'm pretty good at. I'm a mass media artist, comic books, video games, animated series, and now the news. I'm pretty good at figuring out what I think an audience needs to hear. And I'm giving you 4 news videos a day. This is number 3. Thank you guys for watching. This would not be as fun without you commenting in the chat. So you know what to do. Throw a little thumbs up there. And of course, subscribe if you haven't. I'm Doug in Exile.